Hi everybody, this is Dimitris Elias from New York with my yellow pencil and my life experience, as I say. I want us now to speak on Edgar Morin, the philosopher, or how to live past 100, the human being at the same time. A philosophy of life, in a way. Eros wins over Thanatos. What I will say is a reflective portrait which perhaps is worth listening to if you want to reach 100 and surpass it. And I'm not joking at all. Edgar Morin, above all, loved books, life, ideas, his friends, and he never envied anything. I suspect he was a good drinker. Thus, now I want to read to you and to discuss with you my article that was published in the Times of Israel a few days ago. It contains the secret how to live past 100. Is the books, is the ideas, is the olive oil, is the Mediterranean uh, uh, cosmotheory. What exactly is there? And the article in the Times of Israel starts. Edgar Morin, 1921 2026. A complex mind. This is very important. I read of his death in my house 3,500 miles away from Paris. To speak about the French Jewish Edgar Morin, it would be good to go a little back in time. The thread that began in Spain, the West, of the 15th century and went and moved eastwards to the Ottoman Empire, to Thessaloniki, with its dominant Greek elements, where his father, Vidal Naum, was born in 1894. And from there, the the Sephardic immigrants thread traveled to Marseille. Back to the West, that is, during the years 1916 to 1919, and thereafter to Paris, where in that city, in the city of light, Edgar Naum was born in 1921. Naum, which during the resistance against the Nazis, he would change to Morin. He lost his mother, Luna Beresi, at a young age. He was 10 years old. And only now has this precious thread been cut. It broke. So the thread that started in Spain of the 15th century, it just broke in Paris a few days ago with his death, with the death of Edgar Morin. And the article in the Times of Israel continues. This path of meaning, thought, life is not accidental. It contains what I would also call Jewish brilliance. Something I felt a few days ago when I was reading with great interest the interview of Ruth R. Weiss with Elliot Kaufman for the Wall Street Journal. Intelligence that leaps out of sentences as if still is being formed, as is still if being forged, and is capable to distill books, whole libraries, or periods in history into a single razor sharp line. In this path, I mean the path of Edgar Morin, or more correctly, in his 104 last years, as he himself will say, religion came in a second role. The first role was taken by gastronomy, perhaps also good wine, we would add. In the city, with the largest majestic A in the world, I mean, the Eiffel Tower, a place of remarkable aesthetics that existed as imagination, because imagination intervenes continuously in history, in society. He himself was occupied with many things: thought, observation, discussions, the imprinting of thought on paper, newspapers, magazines, books. He will write articles and not a few books. His last book was published last year. Il a-t-il des leçons de l'histoire? Are there lessons from history? He will love, besides gastronomy, which is implied, French culture and finesse, silk scarves with warm colors, and he will develop a weakness for hats and berets. Like Rembrandt, he had an innate he had an innate gentleness that scholars have, a few scholars have. He will sculpt strong friendships in Paris. He will meet all the great thinkers and writers. The word great into brackets, because all people are great, in my opinion. From Marguerite Duras to Martin Heidegger, Roland Barthes, Claude Lefort, and from Kostas Axelos, Jean-Paul Sartre, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, and all the way to Jean Baudrillard. With some of them, he will co-write articles and books about May 68. For a friend of his who died in 1997, he will write in Le Monde the obituary titled In Titan de l'Esprit, a philosophy of life. Eros wins over Thanatos. This is very important. Eros wins over Thanatos. This is like a motto if you want to live past 100. In his work, The Perspective of Complex Thought, pensée complexe, complex thought emerged, gradually emerged, which culminated in his great intellectual work, The Method, La Méthode. His multi-volume undertaking for the understanding of man and of social reality. He gave important attention to the performing arts and especially cinema. In a book of his that was published when he was 101 years old, he will be very concerned, because by degrading the environment of the planet, we degrade our life and society. His words were important, like those of Sir David Attenborough, who a little while ago celebrated his 100th birthday. He himself will say something correct about intellectuals. The sphere of intellectuals is defined by a double and contradictory activity. First, the production of myths and ideologies with cultural, social, and political function, and second, the critique of myths and ideologies. This is very important because this is what's happening with the intellectuals. What I often characterized as the eccentric erotic element in history, and also the role of personality in history, and Morin is an excellent example of this too. He was passionate, powerful, and inspiring. He was a man intellectual with dignity. It is the word dignity which is found 100 times in Magnifica Humanitas on safeguarding the human person in the time of artificial intelligence of Pope Leo XIV. And the article in the Times of Israel continues and ends. I read Edgar Morin from a young age in Athens, and first always through the newspapers Τα Νέα, Το Βήμα, and Kyriakatiki Eleftherotypia. I always cut and kept the pieces. In the cities where I found myself over the years, like London and New York, from time to time I came across his name. The approximately 38,000 days of his complex and unique life, have left behind a great legacy for struggle for all levels, on political level, on cultural level, on the level of on protect the environment. So I repeat this, his complex life has left behind a great legacy for struggle. May his memory be eternal. And this is how the article ends in the Times of Israel, with a photo of Edgar Morin from in his office from 1975. Also, I would like to show you here. I have from the New York Times. I have, if you can see here, the New York Times. I have the obituary that was published on him, and its title was Edgar Morin, the grandfather of the French intellectual, is dead at 104. It was published on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. And here is if you can see here, I hope, and you can see a few photos here. So Edgar Morin, yes, was a philosopher, was a thinker, but was a human being. Was a human being that loved life, loved books, loved ideas, loved the conversation, loved his friends. So he was a good, useful human being. So you want to live past 100, you need to follow his path. His path is important. I mean, you need to love society. You need to love the people. You need to do as much as you can to protect the environment. So that was my article that was published in the Times of Israel. The blog I was given there. I think It was a useful portrait on him, but at the same time, it's a portrait with ideas and pictures and images uh, that you must follow if you want to live a long life, a long and useful life. So also, if you can Google my name, Dimitris Seleas, and Times of Israel, so you can read the article in uh, in English there. The same article was published also in in an important literary magazine in Athens, O Anagnostis, the Reader, a few days ago in Greek, of course. So if you want to read it in, if you know Greek and you want to read it in Greek, you can Google it as well. So all these things, I have to say, is not only the olive oil, it's not only love for life, it's not only love for friends, it's not only love for books, is is a thread that started long before, a few centuries ago, and his father led from Salonika to Marseille, from Marseille to Paris. Edgar was born in Paris and he lived there all his life. But isn't, of course, in a way, the beauty and the aesthetics of Paris played a role. I want to believe, I want to say. But if you want to live past 100, you need to love life. You need to protect life on earth. You need to love books. You need to love ideas. You need to love some good food, of course, with olive oil. And the Mediterranean diet is very important with small portions of meat or fish and plenty of vegetables. All these things play a role. Thank you. I hope you stayed for a few minutes with me. And this is Dimitris Elias from New York with my yellow pencil, as I say. I always use a yellow pencil when I read, when I think, when I try to do something. And if you want, you can uh, like the video and you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you.